The First World War, a conflict of unprecedented brutality, left deep scars on the world. Millions lay dead, empires crumbled, and the global economy teetered on the edge of collapse. The Treaty of Versailles, intended to ensure peace, instead sowed the seeds of resentment and instability. Germany, burdened with crippling reparations and territorial losses, grappled with economic depression and political turmoil. Across Europe, nations struggled to rebuild. The Austro-Hungarian and Ottoman empires, once mighty powers, dissolved into a patchwork of new and volatile states. The United States, having emerged as a global force, retreated into isolationism, wary of further entanglement in foreign conflicts. Yet, amidst the ruins, a profound yearning for peace persisted. The League of Nations, a fledgling international organization, emerged with a hopeful mandate to prevent future wars through collective security and diplomacy. However, its authority remained weak, its ability to enforce its decisions hampered by internal divisions and a lack of commitment from key powers. The world, wounded and weary, stood at a crossroads, poised between the promise of lasting peace and the looming shadow of renewed conflict. In the aftermath of World War I, a dangerous ideology began to take root in the fertile ground of economic despair and political instability. Fascism, a radical and authoritarian nationalist movement, promised order, strength, and a return to national glory. In Italy, Benito Mussolini, a charismatic and ruthless leader, exploited widespread social unrest to establish a fascist dictatorship. Meanwhile, in Germany, a wounded nation reeling from defeat and economic hardship found a voice in Adolf Hitler. Hitler, a powerful orator and master propagandist, offered a seductive and dangerous vision: the creation of a greater German Reich cleansed of those he deemed undesirable, particularly Jews, whom he blamed for Germany's woes. His National Socialist German Workers' Party, or Nazi Party, espoused a toxic mix of extreme nationalism, anti-Semitism, and racial superiority. Hitler's hateful ideology resonated with many Germans who felt betrayed by the Treaty of Versailles and longed for a return to national greatness. As the Nazi Party gained power, Germany, once a bastion of art, culture, and intellectual thought, descended into the abyss of totalitarian rule. The world watched with growing apprehension as Hitler, emboldened by his domestic successes, began to flex Germany's military muscle. He defied the Treaty of Versailles, rearming Germany and reoccupying the Rhineland. The League of Nations, weakened by internal divisions and a lack of resolve from major powers, proved powerless to stop him. In 1938, Hitler annexed Austria, his birthplace, into the Third Reich, a move met with only feeble protests from the international community. The policy of appeasement, championed by British Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain, aimed to avoid war at all costs, even if it meant making concessions to Hitler's insatiable appetite for territory and power. The Munich Agreement, a desperate attempt to avert war, ceded the Sudetenland, a region of Czechoslovakia with a large German population, to Germany. However, this act of appeasement only emboldened Hitler further. On September 1, 1939, German forces stormed into Poland, shattering the fragile peace and plunging the world into another global conflict. The invasion of Poland marked the beginning of World War II, a conflict that would engulf the globe and leave an indelible mark on human history. Great Britain and France, honoring their commitments to Poland, declared war on Germany. The world watched in horror as Hitler's blitzkrieg, a lightning-fast form of mechanized warfare, tore through Poland, overwhelming its defenses in a matter of weeks. The Soviet Union, having signed a non-aggression pact with Germany, seized the opportunity to occupy eastern Poland, further expanding its sphere of influence. For a brief period, a tense calm settled over Western Europe, known as the Phony War. However, this uneasy truce would be short-lived. In the spring of 1940, German forces unleashed their blitzkrieg once more, this time targeting Denmark, Norway, the Netherlands, Belgium, and France. Within 6 weeks, France, once considered the mightiest army in Europe, lay defeated, its northern half occupied by Germany, its southern regions governed by a collaborationist regime headquartered in Vichy. Section 5. Blood on the Beaches, Key Battles and Turning Points. With much of Europe under Nazi control, Great Britain stood alone against the Nazi war machine. The Battle of Britain, a pivotal air campaign waged in the skies over England, became a defining moment in the war. The Royal Air Force, though outnumbered, fought valiantly against the Luftwaffe, the German Air Force. The courage and resilience of the British people, led by the defiant spirit of Prime Minister Winston Churchill, inspired the world. In June 1941, Hitler broke his pact with Stalin, launching a massive invasion of the Soviet Union. Operation Barbarossa, as it was known, aimed to conquer the vast Soviet territories and crush the Red Army. The Eastern Front, as it became known, would prove to be the deadliest theater of the war, a brutal conflict of attrition that claimed millions of lives. The Battle of Stalingrad, a grueling 6-month siege, marked a turning point in the war. The Red Army's tenacious defense of the city, reduced to rubble in the fighting, inflicted a devastating defeat on the German forces, shattering the myth of their invincibility. Section 6. The unthinkable toll, the human cost of war. World War II was a conflict of unprecedented scale and brutality, claiming the lives of an estimated 40 to 85 million people. Civilians bore the brunt of the war's horrors, caught in the crossfire of battles, subjected to aerial bombardments, and targeted for extermination by the Nazi regime. The Holocaust, the systematic, bureaucratic, state-sponsored persecution and murder of 6 million Jews by the Nazi regime and its collaborators, stands as a chilling testament to the depths of human depravity. The war's impact extended far beyond the battlefields. Entire cities lay in ruins, their once vibrant streets reduced to rubble. Millions were displaced from their homes, forced to flee as refugees. The war left an indelible scar on the human psyche, a haunting reminder of the fragility of peace and the ever-present potential for darkness within humanity. Section 7. A New Dawn, Victory and the Aftermath. After 6 long years of devastating conflict, the tide of war finally turned. With the Allied victory in Europe in May 1945, the world erupted in celebration. However, the joy of victory was tempered by the sobering realization of the war's immense cost. The war in the Pacific raged on, with the United States locked in a bitter struggle against Japan. The dropping of atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in August 1945 forced Japan's unconditional surrender, bringing the global conflict to an end. The world, weary from war, faced the daunting task of rebuilding. The United Nations, founded in 1945, emerged from the ashes of war with a renewed sense of purpose, to maintain international peace and security, to prevent future genocides, and to promote cooperation among nations. The Nuremberg trials, held in the aftermath of the war, held Nazi leaders accountable for their crimes against humanity, setting a precedent for international justice. The world, forever changed by the horrors it had witnessed, entered a new era, marked by both hope and uncertainty. Section 8. Never Again, the Legacy of World War II. World War II, a conflict of unprecedented scale and devastation, left an indelible mark on the course of human history. The war reshaped the geopolitical landscape, leading to the emergence of the United States and the Soviet Union as superpowers, locked in a Cold War rivalry that would define the latter half of the 20th century. The war also led to the decolonization movement, as European powers, weakened by conflict, relinquished their colonial empires, paving the way for the rise of new nations. The horrors of the Holocaust, the systematic extermination of 6 million Jews by the Nazi regime, shocked the conscience of the world, leading to the creation of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, a landmark document that affirmed the inherent dignity and equality of all human beings. The war also spurred technological advancements, particularly in the fields of medicine, aviation, and nuclear energy, which would have a profound impact on the post-war world. Section 9. Remembering the Past, Shaping the Future. Conclusion. World War II stands as a stark reminder of the fragility of peace and the ever-present potential for darkness within humanity. The lessons learned from this devastating conflict, the importance of international cooperation, the dangers of unchecked nationalism and intolerance, and the need to defend freedom and democracy, remain as relevant today as they were in the aftermath of the war. As we remember the sacrifices of those who fought and died in this global conflict, let us strive to create a world where such horrors are never repeated, a world where peace, justice, and human dignity prevail.